Record mode. Check the EQ for Dolby. We mobbing? Word. Word. Mobbing and Kevin Stobbing.
Yeah. Check. Yeah, we good. We good.
What's up?
Yo.
Back in the building. Chilling
And
willing. Back in the building. Chilling.
Episode 3.
Yeah, man. It's about to pop off. Hey, man. We're going to talk about another aspect of who we are, man. We're skateboarders. I might not look like he's more preppy and stuff, but you know, I'm a skateboarder, as is Luke, man. You know, we've been doing this for a minute. Like, we didn't just start when Lil Wayne picked up a skateboard. We've been doing this since way before that. So
way before.
Way, bro. You know, we
pretty
were
much our whole lives almost.
I know, right,
really,
bro? Hey, look,
at this point.
we were skateboarding when it was absolutely not cool.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool for like a minute when we were kids, and that's what got us into it. And then we kind of just kept it up when everybody else was like, y'all are not dope. But we didn't care. We just kept doing it because we loved it. So
Yep. We helped pave the way to make it cool. You know
bro, how'd you get into skateboarding? You said you had a Veriflex, but you know.
Yeah, I got it right over there. But yeah, how I got into skateboarding, I mean, I definitely, back in the day, they had stuff on like Nickelodeon, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know, like I think like Tony Hawk or Mark Gonzalez.
Bro,
was
hold
like
on. Remember Skate TV with Skate Master Tape, bro?
Yeah, but I was young, bro, so I was watching it, and I wasn't super aware of like maybe what the show was called or who the dudes were, but I remember like that was probably like one of my early on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm trying to. Where was that? Gleam in the Cube? Remember that movie?
Oh yeah, and then Gleam in the Cube too. Christian Slater, bro.
Bro, I know, right? Back when. Okay, so we'll talk about that era first, bro. Like the '80s era, right?
So we just dated ourselves right there. You know what I mean?
I know, like, I did, bro. I'm 45. Ain't no shame in the game. You can see it, man.
So how things have evolved, and
they can laugh at us.
Yeah, and how people view skaters now versus how they used to view them. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like a complete 180.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying to me? Like, I mean, check it out, bro. Like, you look at the evolution. You know, it was just like cats who surfed, and then they kind of started skating. It kind of became like a thing in the 70s, and then Hawk and all those guys like Cab and the original Bones Brigade and other people like Alva, all these guys, Tony Alva better yet, that started skating in the 70s, and it transitioned from just being something you roll around on, to cats skating in pools and parks being built, and just, it was just something that became cool, you know what I'm saying? And it was a way of life for a lot of dudes.
Yeah, and I think when they took it to the pools too, it used to be the challenge to just make it down the hill, on that piece of wood with the roller skate wheels nailed to it. This is way back. I mean, this is way before our time.
Indeed.
But then, you took it into the pools and stuff like that. It became like, oh, how close can you get to the lip, How close can you get to the coping, So like, I think that definitely started to like push it and get people more interested, you know what I mean? Because they're starting to see what could be possible,
Most definitely, man. Yeah. Pool skating was, I think that was the thing that really showed people that skateboarding was more than just riding around. Exactly. It showed that it took a level of skill to actually do it. And then it kind of started to really develop the core group of guys who were really into it, that and ramp skating and stuff.
Yeah. That's the whole Dogtown era. But
Facts.
I think and then I saw like that old busted skate park that used to be down at Cannon Beach. It was 2 half bowls. Do you remember that?
I never skated it, man.
Bro, it was a long time ago. It looked like they had just gotten some wet cement and then a giant sat in it, bro. It looked like that's what it was. It was 2 half bowls, and they were rough and they were rolling. So there was no coping, there was no lip. You just rolled in, and it was like a 3, pretty much like this.
Okay.
And when I was there, this was probably like 87. I saw some dudes skating, and they weren't like, they weren't the Bones Brigade, but they were dressed like it. You know what I mean? They had the cut off sleeves, you know what I mean? Like the Pal Peralta t-shirts and the boards. And when I saw that, I kind of think I recognized that a little bit from like Nickelodeon. And I was like watching, I was like, I want to be like that.
Man.
I was like, that's me. You know what I mean?
Man. I remember my first pro board, bro. It was a Caballero Bonite. Remember Paul Bonite boards?
Bro, I read about them. That was like, at that point, I was getting Veriflex boards at the Fred Meyer's, whatever.
And I guess I can see that because
just because my parents are buying me one for Christmas at that point. I think but I know what you're talking about. That was those boards that were just snapping like crazy, right?
Bonite. The thing about Bonite though, I don't really remember what Paul's deal was with him, but the thing I didn't like about Bonite boards was how they wore, because it was like basically paper in between the plies.
That's right.
I was like, but you know, I mean, back then you're a kid, bro. You're just like, this is what I gotta get, you know.
Yeah.
So I got a cab. It was a black Bonite cab with like the long dragon, you know, inside the box.
That's dope.
And I had tracker trucks and some OJ2s, right? Man, I just couldn't believe it.
Dude, you're stoked. That's a good first setup, man.
Bro, I was hyped, man. I just you get that board, bro, and you don't. And okay, you know, then versus now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, your parents are buying you this stuff, you know what I'm saying, and you're begging, or you're, you know, to them to get the stuff because you're like, I gotta have this so I can be like those guys.
Yep.
Or you're saving up money for like months, sometimes even years to get, you know, new parts or something like that.
Yeah, because a skateboard was not cheaper.
Nah, it wasn't,
in the 80s,
bro.
dude, it was the same price. Like, you pay over $100 for a full setup,
Yeah.
especially then, because you had to get like the grippers and you had to get the rails. I mean, some people are riding rails again nowadays, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then you had the nose guards and the tail guards. Actually,
I was gonna
you want to
say.
keep this for a second? I'm gonna grab the board.
Yeah, bro. It's just out, man. It's just so crazy when you think about. I mean, people don't realize the evolution of skateboarding, and the same. And maybe the guys that started in like the '70s would say that about us. Yeah, that's tail guards and all that,
I was 6 years old, Christmas Day. This is what I got.
bro. And you look at that. You look at this stuff on boards. It's like those boards with what we were doing back in those days. They'll last forever. You wear your tail guard and all that down, but over time, as you kind of progress in skateboarding, you realize you just take all that off your board because you're like, it's hindering you from being able to do what you want to do. Like, look at the tail guard, bro. You can't even get
no pop.
Yeah, you can. You can ollie with it, but it's not gonna really do what you need it to do. And then how you gonna tail slide with that on the board, bro? You know what I'm saying? And then the same with the, I mean, there's no nose on that anyway. But I'm just saying.
Nobody was doing that back then. I would just go fast and then I would just slam it on the tail.
Exactly,
and just
like
that's what I
Michael
do.
J. Fox and Back to the
Future,
bro. It's just like, it's just so funny. It's just.
That's the other thing. Back to the
Man.
Future, bro. That was the huge influence right there. You know, like that was the skate video. It's
Man.
crazy to think of that. Like you'd get so stoked to see that split, like that 30-second part that shows him skateboarding. You know what I mean?
Yup. And you're kind of like, that's me type of deal. Or like, I do that. Or I can do that. You know? And I think, okay, bro. Okay, look, check it out. Again, I was just saying about the evolution from like the 70s to the 80s. And that was definitely, it was more of a grassroots evolution because a lot of people, you know, and it went from just riding around to dudes riding pools and bowls and stuff. So you kind of started to develop a group of skateboarders. But then when it got popular with like Hollywood stuff, with anything, they're like, oh, we can market this or do something with it. And you got guys that can't skate worth a lick, man, that all of a sudden want to skateboard. And that was where you had that influx of people who kind of came into, you know, the idea and even trying to skateboard in the 80s, right? I mean, Michael J. Fox, he couldn't, even if he didn't have Parkinson's, he couldn't skateboard to save our lives, his life, you know? But it was cool to see people like him at least trying it because it makes it seem doable. And as a kid, like you said, you see that, you just hyped up and you want to get your board, but ain't really much going on. You're thinking it is, but it's not.
Yeah. Plus, I think the draw of it just being like an individual sport where you could be, you know, you could be skating with your homies, but you kind of can just be in your own world at the same time, but then have some people around, you know? So it's like you're not constantly being pulled back into the team where you got to focus and, you know, play your part. You can kind of space out and do your thing.
Yeah,
that's what I always thought about it.
Well, there's so many things you get from it. You know, I mean, but there's so many things. Like, I mean, just we could talk for a long time about the individuality aspect of it and how it allows you to express yourself. I mean, case in point, you know, I mean, we're both dressed differently, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I remember, you probably didn't get this because you didn't dress as preppy and nerdy as me, but I remember like people would be like, you skateboard? And I'd be like, yeah. And they just always get, you don't look like a skater. And I'd tell them I look like a skater. I look like a skater when I'm on my board. You know, I'll be like, I got my board in the car. What, you want me to show you some tricks? I'm just like, you know.
It's the thing because you know, you could probably skate better than most people that are gonna call you out on that. You know
but what I'm
like,
saying, like what you said, the preconceived notions go out the window because you just bring your individuality into skateboarding.
Yeah.
And there's not like, well, no, you can't do. Just all right, whatever. You know, as long as you can skate, we don't care.
Yeah.
You know, just vibe with everybody else and don't snake. Right. That's pretty much the thing.
I think it was probably like 92, 93 was when I really started to get tuned into the culture and just kind of understand skateboarding. And, you know, I could finally ollie, you know what I mean? Like I was like, an ollie, you know, and I taught myself, like there was really nobody around that was skateboarding around me at the time. So I feel like I think it was like that for a lot of people in the early 90s. Like maybe, you know, like you had a crew, but like I think, you know, there wasn't as many people skateboarding. So if you were doing it, you really wanted to do it because, you know what I mean? Like you fall, you know, there's definitely a learning curve. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, even still,
you know, dude, like I've like sprained my fingers where it's like stuck to the other finger and I had to wear like, you know, like just falling in. Dude, how many times have you rolled your ankles, bro? Like I've rolled both my ankles over 20 times each, you know what I mean? Where it's like months. Oh yeah. And landing primo.
Heelys.
Oh yeah.
From ollieing too much down like
landing
steps
on your tailbone. Dude,
I mean, and you know, I'm grateful, man. It's like I've been hurt a lot of ways on skateboarding, but I've never broke anything.
Yeah, I guess I haven't
wonder
either.
how that is, but man, I've hurt everything.
I've seen someone break some, like, because back in the day, you know, here in Portland, we had skate church that we would go to, right?
Yeah, I've been to that a few times.
Okay. So if anybody's not familiar with skate church, I don't even know if they probably have these across the country too, but it was pretty much a place you would go. It was in Northeast Portland. It was a church, and you could go skate for an hour, and then they have a sermon for half an hour trying to bring you to like Christian faith, and then you get to skate for another hour. But I mean, it was a dope setup, you know what I mean? Like they had like an indoor like street area. It was slick as hell. It was like masonite and like garage floor. It was slick. It smelled like sweat and masonite. That's the other thing, bro. If you are a skater, you know that smell of sweat and masonite, bro. That is like that you walk into that like indoor skate park, bro, back in the 90s, especially when like most things were masonite, you know what I mean? I feel like they're doing more Crete these days. People got more money, you know, Nike's invested. But you know, back in the day, dude, that
was when everything was rudimentary though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes me think about what you said about that park. Burnside too. You know, it's just like people just kind of, you know, and that's nothing about skateboarders is that, I mean, even though we're individuals, you know, we all kind of there's a common connection.
Yeah.
When you look at it, I mean, you know, around the world we have that connection because it's relatable. But yeah, it's like Burnside and a lot of these parks kind of started, again, it was more rudimentary, but over time, like anything, it evolved and, you know, things evolved. But yeah, man, it's funny though, you talk about the Masonite thing, because I remember times when I was in Virginia and we go down to North Carolina to Eastern Skate, and you go to look at the park, like where they had some of the bigger ramps, you know, you're going to go inside and skate the Masonite bowl or whatever. You could look up and you could just see the Masonite particles. And you're like, don't be breathing out of them. Just like, I don't care. I want to go skate. Like, yeah, that's dope. I want to skate that pyramid. I want to skate that bowl or you know, that mini ramp or that court or that launch ramp. You're not even caring, right? You're just like, bro. I mean, and that's the thing, right? I mean, it's just like when you. I mean, again, like with the evolution of skateboarding, for people who actually enter that group and are actually skateboarders that don't just skateboard until the end of the movie or skateboard for like a summer and quit, you know, for the people that actually stuck with skateboarding, it's one of them things that when you really start to feel it in your core, it drives you, man. You know, I mean, even when you're just out doing regular things, you know, I remember I'd be out with like chicks on a date, but like, yeah, that is, this and that.
Oh, you're seeing spots everywhere you go.
Or you're like, man,
you look at the world completely different.
You do, bro. Everything's a skate spot. Even when, dude, were you ever doing this to school? Got your books on the table, and you're like, you know, skateboarding. You know, like ollieing. You know, okay, setting up your books and bend this piece of paper and making it to a ramp. I would transfer. You know, you're just totally everything. It's just you. It's constantly on your mind, man.
Oh yeah, bro. And you know, I finished school and like I think I was class of 2000, but I finished in '99. But you know, I think the last 2 years of school they had the mini or the fingerboards. What do you call them? The mini decks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The fingerboards.
What am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so like when they had those, you'd have those.
Oh,
in
the
school.
tech decks.
The tech decks. There you go. Jeez, man, I couldn't remember the tech decks.
It's all good. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, then you'd have those in class, and then you'd be doing those on your binder. You know, what
bro.
I mean?
And then when like, put that away, you're just like, all right, I can still skate with my fingers, busting like Smith grinds and like backside tail slides, and like I'm gonna clear this whole thing, kick flips, catching the board. You know, it's just like, it's just. I think that was a dope time. I think anybody that skateboards before you're like grown in skateboarding, when you're like, okay, I don't know about you, but I think you were saying the sweet spot is like you go from skating every day and not having a job or anything, responsibilities, to you can drive now. And you got responsibility, but you still get a lot of time to skate. So now the sweet spot is you drive. I mean, we're driving all up and down the East Coast, hitting spots to skate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pulaski, you know, for me, like on the East Coast, All American Skate Center. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Eastern Skate, all these places, you know, that you could go and skate. for me, William & Mary College, VCU, just, man, all over Richmond, just so many spots to skate.
Bro, that was us too, man. It was so fun, man. Like, the spots here, man, we would go skate PCC Sylvania.
Word, that place is dope, bro.
We'd skate around that place, you know what I mean?
Dope.
You get kicked out a little bit, but then,
It's
there's the Second and Alder spot that's got that whole block that's got that metal ledge. You know, they put some stoppers on it now.
Indeed.
But, dude, that was, you know, it would, like, range in heights and stuff. And
Yeah.
And so you could, like, skate that. And then just past that Second and Alder spot, they tore it down now, but it was that iconic spot that was, like, just the bank. You know what I mean? It had like the half pyramid quarter.
Yeah.
It had the bank with the steps in between.
Yep.
I mean, so many sessions on that, dude. A lot of people, like, that was hard to skate. But yeah, man, there's tons of spots. And then there was up, down.
Dude,
I mean, remember hearing
that.
up, down?
Yeah.
I mean, people, like, I don't even think, like, I say that to somebody who's 20 nowadays, they wouldn't even know what up, down is. But that was like, you knew what up, down was. And that was near Burnside. There's a lot of just cutty spots right over there.
Indeed. The east side is just insane. That's the thing. It's just, okay, man, here we go. Like, me being from the East Coast, you know, we kind of had, you know, a lot of spots that we went to. But then when I moved to the, you know, Portland metro area, you know, in 95, I was enamored with so many aspects of what Portland was, man. Because it's just like, around I mean, I'm a hip hop dude, but I like old school punk too because I'm a skateboarder. But the thing I dug about Portland is, like, in a time where everything was starting to go in the hip hop direction, Portland stayed punk and skateboarding. So it was refreshing to actually see that association still in existence. I was like, I mean, it kind of touched my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you had these dudes, they were punks, but they were skaters, you know? Like it originally was that, you know, for a time or at a time. Or, you know, that association hadn't gone away. And, yeah, man, I
think you can thank Burnside for a lot of that.
Dude, you can thank Burnside for a lot of things.
Thank Red and
bro.
Monk for the punk skateboard
the OGs,
scene.
Bro. Neil Headings, all those guys, man. Just all them dudes.
Yeah, big ups to Red and Monk, bro. Rest in peace,
big
Monk.
ups to big up to the whole original Palace team, bro.
Yeah.
All them dudes, man, they showed me so much love. They didn't know me from Adam, bro. I roll up there and they're just like, bro.
Yeah.
Just, bro, it was nothing but love. And I've seen a lot of people get smashed, you know, just destroyed at Burnside, bro. But they always showed me love.
Yeah.
But, man,
they didn't play, bro. They didn't play.
No,
I mean,
you gotta respect. You gotta respect it, bro. You gotta respect the spot, bro. If you come in there violating, bro, it's gonna be bad for you.
Bro, I remember, dude, I was there in some of the most prime time, bro. I saw Choppy go from the spine into the big bull.
Where Choppy Omega, that dude
Choppy
was dope.
Omega, bro.
He was dope, bro.
But dude, that was some crazy stuff back then, bro. That was in what was it? Was it a Thrasher video or 411 where they had like the Portland scene and they had Choppy do that, bro. And I saw that stuff in person, bro. I saw Osage.
Some of the illest stuff ever, bro.
Like Osage, right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Osage, yeah.
And then there was like seeing Red skate. I mean, Red is just like, he knows every inch of that park because he built it. You know what I mean?
Okay, there you go from the. It's cool if you roll, you longboard or whatever. But like for the core group, like I said, you know, as skateboarders, you know.
Yeah.
Then you kind of start to see the group shrink because people start dropping off.
Yeah.
But the cats that are really like true to it, I mean, it's so ingrained and embedded in you, and nothing gets in the way of that. Nothing, bro.
No.
I mean, I love my children. You know, I pay all that stuff. I do what I got to do. But I'm a skateboarder, man.
Yeah.
And any day of my life, I'll let anybody know that because that's part of who I am. It's, you know, I identify with other people who skateboard. You know what I'm saying? We're true to this. And it's like that with anything. But, you know, we're talking about skateboarding. So what I'm saying, man, it's just like when you look at cats, you know, that you see are true to it as well. I mean, it's just that camaraderie, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just, man. It's just so dope, man.
And I've never surfed, but, you know, like you can imagine and you see how like people are, you know, being out in the ocean and stuff, like you have that connection. There's that same kind of similar connection with skateboarding, and you can explain it. And, you know, anybody out there that skates knows what I'm talking about because, you know, you go try to explain it to someone who, you know, really has no idea. And man, I even hate saying it to someone like that because it's like, they're like, oh, so they picture you just like pushing on the sidewalk, you know, on a longboard. And then you're like, no, you know, like, no, I do tricks, and
they don't think about what it's like for someone to come up on like a an 8-foot ramp, but bust like a chest high, ollie stale to freaking 5-0 and then back in.
Yeah.
I'm
or
like,
it goes
bro,
from longboarding to Tony Hawk. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Tony Hawk.
I know. But, in the same, I try my best. Like, okay, as I've gotten older, I've kind of cooled out. But I used to really trip on people who, like, just fronted on skateboarding. Because I think, and I was just saying about this as we were talking, it's one of them things, like I said, it's in you. And if you really do it, then nothing's going to get in the way of that, bro. And that's what I was going to say, like, my thought was the whole synergy between like skateboarding and hip hop, right? Like true hip hop, right?
Especially because you got the early '90s, bro.
Dude,
that was all about it.
And its actual true form, right? Hip hop or skateboarding, and punk too, right? That's how come real punk, you know what I'm saying? And okay, real hip hop, but I'm saying hip hop that employs all the elements of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? As it's been reduced to, back in the early '80s, with Wild Style and all that, but. Skateboarding is the same way, man. That's how come back in the 80s we talk about posers, but it's really just the same as a perpetrator in hip hop. But in skateboarding, man, you gotta, bro, it gets deep, man. I mean, like you said, like certain spots, I mean, Burnside is a perfect example of that. Them dudes don't play, man. You can't come around there half stepping, bro.
I got a story from there, bro. Like
What's
it
poppin'?
wasn't me. Like, like when me and my, like we would only go there. We won't go there a ton, but when we did, like me and my friends, most of us could drop into the elbow. We won't roll it into the elbow. Like that used to be a thing though. Some days you'd be there, and if it was like a heavy amount of people there, I've heard of some people being like, hey, if you can't roll into the elbow, you can't skate.
Dude, Luke, on my children, bro, I seen some crazy stuff go down at Burnside, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But that you're about to say, I'm just saying, like, trust me, I can relate. But you said you had something you were going to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we would show up and, like, it was always a little nerve-wracking, but it was always kind of exciting, too, because you're like, this is the place. Like, this is the mecca of not only Portland, but, dude, it was in Tony Hawk video game, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's
what more
iconic,
needs to be said, bro?
It's still
around
there.
The world.
Even with these huge condos or, apartment buildings, expensive apartment buildings right next to it, they've kept it there. That's how important it is.
Portland and everybody in it knows what's up. And if you don't, then they're going to make sure that you know what's up eventually. You don't violate Burnside, bro. Anyway, you guys say something, though?
Oh, yeah. So we were there and we were skating and everything was cool. You know what I mean? Like, nobody was like hassling us, but my buddy Ryan, he was actually one of the like better street skaters of us, but we were all kind of equal when it came to transition. Because I mean, in the '90s, like I was kind of at that age where I saw the transition stuff, but I didn't even look real to me. Yeah. And then when the street skating started getting pushed more, I was like, oh, okay, that looks like something I can do and I can get into. So like transition wasn't really our thing as much. So my friend
a lot of
Ryan,
people like that though, bro, because they were trying to kill Vert in the '90s.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no doubt, like Vert was not cool in the '90s. They'd always have like that 5-minute video section of the skate video, and then everything else, the one skater that skates Vert, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Toss Pappas or
right.
Mike Frazier, you know what I mean?
Indeed.
So anyways, my buddy was skating and he just slammed into a dude, like you gotta know your lines at Burnside. Like you go from here to there. You don't hit this and then go straight across the park to this, and if you don't know that kind of stuff, like you're gonna crash into somebody. And my buddy did, and they smacked, and the dude hit hard, and he was like, dude, if I can't work this week, he's like, you're dead. He starts screaming at him, and my buddy's just like, he just does one of these. He's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna keep skating, So he just kept skating, and the dude's up there, and he's just talking with everybody up on the elbow, and I'm just kind of like, I'd kind of stopped skating at that point. I'm just kind of checking it out, and then Ryan's still trying to skate, just try to keep it cool, kind of own it, be like, hey, sometimes we crash into each other, and all of a sudden, dude, like a bag sandwich gets thrown at him and hits him in the back, and then like an apple, and then like all this like stuff starts getting thrown at him. He's like, dude, we got to get out of here.
Bro. Oh my God. That's okay. I was just thinking this, you were talking about people up on the elbow, and that's kind of how it goes. There's like a degree of hierarchy at spots. That's another thing. It's like the surfers say, the whole locals thing. Bro, you cannot come through violating. You gotta, it's more than just when in Rome, bro. You have to absolutely adhere to all the codes at that spot, or else it's gonna be bad for you, bro. I mean, it's just, it's one of them things that's hard for me to even convey it in words. You just have to kind of be there and experience it. I tell people, I get it that some people might, you know, I mean, most skateboarders, you know, you meet us, you know, we're generally pretty cool people, but you know, I mean,
Dude, I think people were meaner in the 90s though, bro. Like,
oh, bro, I mean,
my
I was gonna
gosh,
say
bro.
overall though, bro, you know, I mean, you know, skateboarders aren't these, you know, like when we were in school, they thought, you know, we were kind of like the outcast, you know, and people kind of just, you know, push to the side. Now it's like, hey, or spots like that, you don't do that. Mm-hmm. You might not agree with the person, or you might think he's a weirdo. Yeah, he's an outcast, but you ain't gonna say it to his face, you know, or to their face, because if you do, then it's gonna, man, those are some down dudes, man. All them Palace dudes, man. They would thump at the freaking drop of a hat, bro. Just snaking. Well, I seen dudes get beat down, bro, just for snaking. Mm-hmm. So I tell cats, like, look, when you go there, it's not like it's a balance. You can't go there all scared, bro, because then you're gonna be messing up all over the place. But if you come there like acting like you got an attitude too, bro, I seen people get thumped the most for that. You come around there like, yo, I'm a, you know, dudes on bikes, dudes. I mean, you know, dare I say it, on scooters. You know, nothing against people with scooters, but it's just like if the dudes that run the spot are not down with it, you got to respect that. Yeah, it's like, bro, do what you want, but I'm just saying, you it might not turn out well. You got to respect that, because a lot of them dudes, they'll stay like overnight, or they camp out there. Them dudes, man, that's their spot. Mm-hmm. So you're going into their territory, bro.
And that's kind of the lure of it, bro. That's what makes it cool too. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
That park is like, man, if you don't skate all the time too, it's so hard to skate, bro. It's like, I mean, it's kind of wide open. So to keep your speed, you got to know where to hit. And then the thing is too, dude, it's like, it's smooth concrete that's slippery, but it's got like micro little bumps in the smoothness. So you got to be like light on your feet. You know what I mean?
Indeed,
you know?
Bro. Yep. I'd be like, man,
you got to be light on your feet.
There'd be times I'd be skating, I'd like drop it, and I'd be hitting like, you know, hit the hip, hit the Twinkie or something like that. Yeah. Then in that spot, I'm like, man, I'm like, oh, I got to push here. I'm like, oh, I wasn't trying to push. Somebody else coming through just finessing. Yeah. Because they know, like you said, they know the park so well. They know how they, you know, light on their feet at some spots, not scrubbing off speed or just whatever, or even what type of tricks to try so you don't, you know, mess up and have to end up pushing or just lose your momentum. Yeah, bro. It's such an interesting experience, as opposed to just skating street where you just kind of control the tempo, control the speed, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then when you skate spots like that are kind of more organic, as opposed to a company built the park. Yeah. I mean, mind you, as an older dude, I love smooth floors and, you know, and wood and masonite and every, you know, well built parks, you know, because as you get older, you know, you don't want to be like killing yourself every time you fall, but
that's what's cool too, is like, you know, Red and Dreamland's parks is like evolved crazy, bro. They build parks all over the place now, and that's
right.
And a lot of them, like the joke is that like some of the Dreamland parks, they're parks that only Red can skate. he like builds something in the park that only he can skate because it's so gnarly. You know what I mean?
You got to respect that, though, bro. I mean, and again,
that's giving props more than anything.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah. It's like one of them things, man. You know, and even still, it's like, you know, if you want it bad enough, you're gonna figure it out, and that's the thing. And I was to say, when I was talking about like polished parks compared to organic parks, you skate both and you can appreciate both, right? But I mean, you got to really be, you know, down with skateboarding to get it. But I mean, at the same time, though, man, yeah, it's just, man, so many things I was gonna say about skateboarding as far as what it taught me, bro. You know, I mean, it just taught me. I'm so grateful to. It taught me how to persevere through difficult situations. It taught me how to be a person that's unpopular, you know what I'm saying, just for being who I am. Mm-hmm.
Which makes you stronger in the long run, because if you can like, you know, go against opposition and be like, no, I'm still good. This is what I want to do. And it's strong enough to keep you from following the herd, you know? And
then I mean, you know, it's just, I mean, for me, skateboarding taught me not to give up, bro.
Seriously, bro. It's the first thing that I actually stuck with past the hard things. Is the first thing I pushed through. I saw the reward of sticking with something, you know what I mean? And that helped me with everything, because I was like, okay, things are possible, you know what I mean? Like if you consistent and you stick with it, you know, you can get to that next level,
dude. Yeah, it's just one of them things. And then it's also one of those things where people will be like, why are you doing the same thing over like 1,000 times? And you're just like, it's no point in me even telling you.
Yeah, you don't get it. You don't get
it. Or even you get a trick and someone's like, oh, you landed it. You're like, yeah, but it's not good enough.
And they won't even be able to tell the subtlety of it. You know what I mean?
Of course not.
Bro, it's like, no, I didn't like the way my left foot was turned when I landed. You know
or it
what
didn't
I mean?
even feel, you like, no, my weight didn't feel right with how I landed. I want to, because you know, I always talk about, I got it wired. Well, you want to get the trick wired, man.
Bro.
And that's the key. When you get a trick wired, man, the feeling you get from that, it's like, okay, so now what's next? I accomplished this, so now I want to do something even more grand than this. But it just, it teaches you not to quit. It teaches you become stubborn about accomplishing a task.
Yeah.
You know, and you become stubborn about perfecting the task. You're like, landing it is not good enough, or just getting it. I'm like, no, that just gets me in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Now I have to master it.
It has to have style, bro, because, man, you can watch someone that has the biggest trick selection for me, and I am not impressed if it doesn't look good.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like, I would
Agreed.
rather watch, I mean, I'm not saying Tom Penny doesn't have a huge trick selection, but dude, what he does, he did so, like, he still does. But dude, watching him skate, bro, like the way he would land tricks. And I remember someone saying like how he would think about it. He would just say, my board is going to be exactly where it needs to be when I land. So he would just think that in his head.
That is so beautiful.
I can't remember if that was on the 9 Club or something, but I remember someone saying that. And dude, you could just tell the way he landed, bro. Like, and then Andrew Reynolds, bro, the way he lands.
I was just about to mention him.
He lands all low, like his knees,
just
like
perfect,
he almost like
bro.
Boom, like it looks good, like it feels good, like it has to like sound good sometimes too, right?
Facts.
Like, bro, like you can
It's
get into
all the components,
Bro.
like you said about the subtleties. That's what I'm saying. When you really start to, get in the skateboard on the micro level, it's so, and that's the artistic aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's the artistic aspect and the individual contribution. I mean, even cats like we talked about Ray Barbie, the other day.
Oh, bro,
He
evolved the style like huge, bro.
Bro, he opened up a whole new level of what was dope and what he made everybody go and up their game, because you're like, okay, this was good, but now he's resetting the bar. He's like Rakim was in hip hop.
Yeah,
everybody
bro.
was rhyming, and then Rakim came out and they're like,
bro.
You ever heard, just real quick as a quick side note, you ever heard Daryl Mack from Run DMC talk about the first time he heard Rakim?
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
he was not hyped.
He was pissed, bro.
He was like,
someone gave him the tape, right, in his car, right?
But you know what though? He was like, that's because this dude he knew that. He was like, he's better than me.
Yeah,
he's
like,
better than me.
He's like, my career is over or something like that,
Basically,
right?
yeah.
He was like, man, this is where it's at now,
Dude, because
seriously, bro.
and that's what it is. That's what Ray Barbie was in skateboarding. He came out and he was just, I'm like, dude, who is this guy and how is this guy? But for me, and this is me relating real quick, I love the fact that I saw somebody who was reflecting me skateboarding. I was just like, okay, because that was the time when, and I'm not going to harp on this because I'm grateful that I went through what I went through as a kid who was black that skateboarded. But it was nice to see someone else that looked like me that wasn't just like a token. He was a dude who came out and made everybody, he was like, bro, this is what you need to be doing. Everyone's like, yo, this dude is that dude. So everybody was emulating him. They were just loving him.
Bro.
And he was just being himself, but he was very, very, very good at what he did and still is. He's older than me and he's still killing it. But yeah. he was a game changer, bro. He was a game changer. He just kind of, he flipped street skating on his head. And before that, it was cats like Tommy Guerrero,
Yeah.
But Ray Barbie he upped the ante from that. I mean, he kind of ushered in what ended up being technical street skating for the 90s, late 80s and in the 90s.
Yeah, because I mean, Hensley was like kind of blowing up a few years before him, right?
Indeed,
so I mean,
indeed.
like, I feel like for me, like, I feel like he kind of took what Man Hensley was doing to the next level. You know what I mean? In a sense, because like he was flipping the board, that big board. You know what I mean? Like he was doing kick flips in lines like several times. You know what
Indeed.
I mean? And lots of shove-its and like no complies.
Indeed.
No comply flips too, right? He was like, yeah, dude.
He was like the
doing all
no
kinds of
comply
stuff.
king, bro. Matt Hensley was, I mean, oh man, it's almost like I don't even want to try and compare those
But Barbie
two.
could do the launch ramp stuff too, right?
Yeah,
Because
no,
Hensley
both-
could do those big grabs off the launch ramps and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
but-
they both were dope street skaters, but I think the thing with Ray Barbie is the fact that Hensley had style, but Ray Barbie was just a smooth dude.
yeah, bro. It
He
just
was
looked
technical.
effortless.
Exactly. I mean, not that. I mean, Matt Hensley was that dude, but I think there was a bit of brutality to his skateboarding, but it's what made his skateboarding beautiful. I mean, it's almost like you can compare the two, but you can't, because Hensley, like I said,
Yeah.
he was busting like big kickflip melons over trash cans and stuff, and Barbie could do that too, but that wasn't what he was known for. He was known for tech, style, dope, just and big as well. I mean, he could do handrails. it was two different types of skateboarding in a sense. Some similarities, but definitely two at the end. But Ray's thing made everybody up their style ante,
Yeah.
you know, because like you said, effortless, you know, and like I said, stylish, but still technical and dope. I mean, it was just like, well, how can you be all that stuff? But he kind of upped the ante. And I wanted to say this too, because I know cats probably like, what? Cats like Nodis. You know, he's
No,
another,
yeah,
you know,
dude, you
he's
can't.
another one
Yeah.
who was a, you know, he was another style king.
Huge, yeah. What he was
Somebody else I
doing.
was thinking about around that time. So but even it was one more cat, but I can't. You know, it escapes me at the moment. But Nodis and Barbie, man, they kind of.
Well,
you know,
was it Dressen or Dreesen was coming out, but he wasn't doing the same kind of tricks. That, like,
Eric Dressen, I think
he was doing different kind of stuff.
Well, he was like, if you took one of the older school Dogtown guys, you know, and even like the 80s, you know, like early to mid 80s guys, and added more tech to him, that'd be Eric Dressen. I always like Eric Dressen. I used to love when he'd do like method fakies on vert, you know, but even some of his street skating was dope.
I liked his park lines because he could do a little bit on transition and a little bit of kind of like.
Well, because he was both. He skated both.
Yeah.
So,
No
but
doubt.
nah, man. I mean, I don't know. I think Nodis, you know, Nodis, Hensley, and Barbie. But you know, in Barbie's case, man, he definitely. He was just, of the three, he was definitely the smoothest, you know, and he wasn't just like, oh, this guy could do some okay stuff. Nah, he was legit across the board, and he was smooth. Like, man, like how can this dude do what he's doing? But he made everybody up the ante, man. A lot of people wanted to be him. It didn't matter whether you look like him or not. Everybody wanted to be him.
Yeah, bro. I mean, okay, well, like, let's go. It's fast forward a few years and like, you know, talking about skateboard styles, like, because when I was really paying attention, it was like. You were either Hesh or Fresh, you know what I mean? And Portland was more Hesh, but I was into the more Fresh style, but I couldn't help. So we had the same, we call, you know, Fresh Hesh, you know what I mean? Like, so you had a little bit of Hesh, like, you know, you wear your Dickies every once in a while.
Indeed, bro.
You know, but then you still be wearing the Polo and the Ralph Lauren, you know what I mean? But
bro,
baggy,
that's so dope, though,
baggy, bro, baggy, you know, it had to be.
He said Hesh and Fresh. I like it.
Yeah. So
I love
like,
it, bro. And
I was definitely I mean, Hesh skaters, like, I'd be like, damn, that's gnarly. You know what I mean? Like, Party L, like, I loved all that stuff. But those, like, it wasn't the dudes that I was trying to, like, skate like. The dudes that, I mean, I loved Girl and Chocolate. When Girl and Chocolate came around.
Just a bunch of ill cats,
perfect
man.
timing. They were, like, when that dropped, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, the way people were skating, the spots they were skating, that was, like, what I wanted to skate. But as far as style, bro, the styles that came in that I emulated, not only the way they landed tricks, I mean, I'm not saying I ever got there, but this is in my head when I'm skating, this is how I wanted to land and how I wanted to dress. Like, I loved Kareem Campbell and Clyde Singleton, dude. They were like two, and Tom Penny too. Those three dudes were huge for me. And then, dude, who else, dude, man, there was a lot of like East Coast skaters, you know what I mean? Like early Zoo York stuff was dope.
Was a young boy, the one that passed, Harold Hunter.
Harold Hunter, yeah.
You know, rest easy.
Harold Hunter was dope, bro.
And then for me though, bro, was like my man Pep. You know, I mean, Lord, man, I mean, that was my heart right there, bro. I mean, a lot of cats, that's probably a little bit different because a lot of West Coast guys don't know who Pep was, but he was an innovator, man, as far as like switch stance and just style, even, bro. I mean. It's just, man, Pep was just, he was like perfect, man. And he was just he was always ahead of the curve. But I mean, I feel you though, man. You know, it's crazy when you have all these skateboarders that have come along and just, like you said, influence a generation of people, man, or just influence your personal style, right?
Bro, and the style that speaks so much, man, because like there was like people like Weston Korea and Quim Cardona. You know those? I know you know Quim, but you know Weston?
Yes.
Okay, I figured you did because he was in a lot of videos back then. But bro, those two dudes' styles, they weren't exactly the same, but there was something similar to that. And with Quim, bro, and then what's that other dude? Man, what's his name? I can't remember. He skated for iPath, and I forget who else. Oh, is it? No, it's not Tom. I can't remember. But dude. The style where, you know, people ollied and then they had the front foot, you know what I mean? Like tipped out, you know what I mean? Like just the boosted ollies, you know what I mean? Like Quim used to do.
Like when they ollie and kind of tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, they totally tweak it.
We used to call it K-Tac
It's the back
ollies.
foot, you know, that's like turned like this.
Yeah,
you know
we used to call it K-Tac ollies, but I know what you mean.
K-Tac, okay.
Yep. Here's like some more East Coast cats like Sean Sheffy.
Oh yeah, bro. Sean Sheffy.
Big, man.
One of my favorites, bro.
Bro, I met him a couple times. Mad cool, bro. He's as cool as he is dope.
I believe it, bro.
He's just a cool cat. There's another cat I was thinking about. Oh, here's another skater I really just dug the heck out of. I don't think he's an East Coast dude though, but he was just insane with it was Donnie Barley.
Oh yeah, Donnie Barley, bro.
Man, that dude was he was just
charged
mega
it, bro.
ill, bro. He was just mega ill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would just like, okay, front turn A, flip this whole freaking stadium, bam. You know, and just catch it, just ill, man. Just almost robot like, but very human like at the same time, because he just was like he had a very high degree, you know, of you could see a lot of the you know, what's the word? Like you could tell that it was strength in his skateboarding, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like smooth and flowing. It was like, you know, he, you know, push hard, pop hard, you know, it was just...
Yeah, he did like 3 extra pushes than anybody else, you know what I mean? Like
he would go mega fast, bro. Every trick mega fast. He was always just blazing when he busted a trick.
I think there was some with his filming too, bro. Like some of his filming, I felt like they got like the way they filmed him just made it look hella cool too. I mean, it looked dope no matter what, but I just remember some of the filming, the way they filmed him and the way his tricks looked. Just, it was like he was like one of those dudes that's like, he's so dope, but at the same time, I wasn't trying to skate like him.
No. He's in his own world.
He's in his own world.
He's just someone that I appreciate. Whenever I see him, I'm like, yo, you know, if he's doing something, it's gonna be just super sick. Like, no matter, it's like, you don't be like, oh, that's okay. Now, if they show him, it's going to be something just ill. Another cat, kind of like what you're saying is, and he's another cat who kind of influenced everyone like Barbie did, is Costin. You know, him and Carol, man, they just, bro, again, and Andy got raised again. You saw Costin, like, how is this dude, he's so smooth, but he's so smooth on his board. I mean, everyone's like, oh, you know, he's a pretty boy. Then he gets out there and you're like, oh, okay.
Costin?
Like, yeah. He's just like, dude.
I loved it how he never took things serious, bro. He was just like a goofball, you know what I mean?
He was, but I mean, we both know he killed on his boy. Trey flipped to Smith on like or Trey flipped to Feeble on like a 12 stair. I'm just like.
But that's why I related to him too, not because only because I loved his skateboarding, but just because he was just a goofy skateboarder, and that like hit
like
home
a lot
with
of
me.
us,
like us, you know. I felt like, dude, like the stuff he does on film when he's not skating, I was like, that's what we're doing when we're not skating, you know. So
well, there you go.
Light,
it's like we take ourselves seriously, but at the same time we don't. You know, we have fun. I mean, I think that's another element of skateboarding that's different from a lot of other things where you're athletic or doing some sort of physical activity. Is like we take it seriously, but at the same time, you know, we make sure that's equal parts, you know, active and fun. You know, sometimes more fun than active, but mostly, you know, it's like a 50-50 split. You know, you're having fun, but, you know, it's a crazy, explosive core workout and a lot of other things. But yeah, we have fun. We're not like, gotta do it for the team and, you know, we're gonna lose, you know, because there's, you know, but even with stuff like that, you have some days where you're just killing everything you do, right? Every trick's perfect. And then you have them days where you're just off and you're like, you know, that's the downside of it, but it's just, it goes with the territory. What are you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, it's one thing too, like, you know, I'm like when you're young, the joke used to be like, oh man, my shoes, or, you know, like people sit me say like, no, it's not your shoes, you know,
right.
But when you do like get your gear just right, like I feel like even now at this age, like I've figured out the perfect board size, the perfect wheels. And dude, my setup is so different than it was in the 90s. I used to skate my truck so tight, bro. My trucks were like, you could hardly even, you know, turn. Like you'd almost have, you know what I mean? They were just so tight. And because for some reason I thought that was helping me with my flip tricks, you know what I mean? Because the board wasn't given when I tried to flip. But dude, my trucks are hella loose now. Like there's been times where my bolt will almost shake off, you know what I mean?
Trust me, I get it.
I've been skating now I skated
trucks for 30 years.
I skated 8.5, bro, and at one point I skated a Sheffy 7.35. Okay. You know, back in the day, you know, I had a Sheffy that was under 7.5.
Like a small board?
Dude, it was a regular skateboard, but like girl was putting out tiny boards. Like that was like there was like the mid 90s, like, you know, like 8 I think was still kind of a standard. 8's always kind of been like, you know, but man, there was a lot of like 7.37 or 7.5 boards.
It makes you think of like all the, what is it, like the wheels too, like all the, like the bearing cover type wheels and stuff.
Oh yeah, bro.
You know, big pants, skinny boards, small wheels. You know, the whole like early 90s thing, Rick Howard Plan B style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I definitely caught that. You know, I had the blind jeans, the huge blind jeans.
I think all of us did at some point, man, if you skated during that era.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't have like the crazy early 90s where it was like the cutoff jeans that were high water, like baggy.
I used to wear those sometimes.
And then like the 4XL shirts, like I missed that, but when it came in, it was still like it was like blind jeans. This is seriously, bro. This was my like dream gear to have, and it's nothing fancy at all, but just like blind jeans, blind blue jeans, a white shirt, and then a fresh pair of like black Sal 23s. Some Sal 23s. Like, dude, that was the shoe back in the day, bro. I had the brown ones with the gum soles, which were hella dope too, but I always wanted the black ones, bro, because they're so dope.
Those are baller skate shoes,
dude.
Though,
the logo on the ton, the SLB logo on the ton, and the 23 on the side, and they're just clean, and they had that little like rubber patch for the ollie, you know.
And that was back when
such a clean shoe,
dude. And that's the thing. It's almost like, I mean, obviously skateboarders didn't originate like the whole sneaker or shoe culture, but I mean, like for a time, and even still, man, it's a situation where, I don't know, it's a combination of style and functionality with a shoe, right? I mean, you know, like, what about the DC era? All those shoes, those, you know, that was like, you know, again during the '90s, like when Rob Dyrdek was actually still skateboarding. You know, I mean, it was that DC was the shoe to have for a bit. But I never had a pair of DCs, man. I was always a Vans dude,
bro.
They were
like when they came out, I was like, damn, skate shoes are like $80 to $100 now.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, and that's kind of, it parallels the sneaker culture because you had skate shoes that were hard to get a hold of, and you know, you had skate shoes that people would get and not skate. Like, okay, these are the ones I skated, and these are the ones I just, you know, rock when I'm just, you know, or, you know, I don't sport these, you know, I only sport these every once in a while, you know, and like, yo, they just never touch my board, right? Because you want to kind of keep them fresh. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but for me, I never wanted to wear fresh skate shoes around because then it looked like I didn't skate.
Though. I'm saying
I only had the one pair. Oh, I know what you're saying.
I was never like that.
Oh no, dude,
bro.
like, yeah. I remember going to like some of my friends that went to Westview and stuff. You know, the parents had a little bit more money or whatever, and I'd go into their room and they'd have like, I was like, damn, you got all these nice shoes and like all the gear, you know what I mean? But you know, I definitely had some gear, but I was like, I had like one pair of shoes because you go through them so fast. You know what I mean?
Hey, here goes a funny one, bro. What about when you have a friend that has the same shoe size as you and he's regular and you're goofy and y'all switch shoes because you ollie through the side? You ever used to do that?
I think I did give some shoes, but that was more recently, bro. In the last 5 years, I was at Tron and there was this dude and his shoes were busted, bro. Dude. And mine
duct tape specials, bro.
My other ones were like the ones I had in the car. They were pretty legit, but for some reason they just blew out like where the ollie was like, and I was just kind of done with them. And so I gave them to him. He was stoked because he was goofy. But back in the day, man, pretty much everybody I skated with, besides CJ, was regular.
No, it's the case. Most people are regular footed. I mean, it's the same with me because I'm goofy footed, but I ran as I've gotten older and skated more, you know, as I'm saying through the years, time's accumulated. I've met a lot more goofy footed skaters and it's become more like a regular thing. But, you know, and especially with Switch too, you know, but I mean, overall, most people from my experience are regular footed. But yeah, man, I mean, like as far as shoes, I never really had the super expensive skate shoes. Like I would skate stuff. I skated a lot of Vans, man. I mean, I got my first pair of half cabs, and I was like, okay, I like the ankle support, and I always liked the Vans sole because it had reasonably good. Like you could smack the ground with your foot, and you wouldn't bruise your, you know, the ball of your foot. But the Vans sole took such a long time to wear, man. I was like, you know, I can skate these, and then over time, I just started. I got the low cabs, you know, and I was like, I'm digging those. And then I got rallies. So it was like most of the time, rallies are low cabs.
Yeah.
That was just, Van just worked for me, man. I like the leather. I like the way the soles wore, you know. And that's the thing. When you skateboard, man, again, we're all kind of doing the same thing, but we're doing different things and we're doing it differently. So you just, because of that, you pick your poison. Just like some dudes, like when I first started skating, it was fly paper or grip tape or fly paper. You know, grip tape was way more coarse, and now it's kind of evolved to fly paper. You know, the finer, you know, stuff that your feet stick to, because you get grip tape wet, your foot sliding on the board. You're like, oh, you know. But fly paper still grips pretty good when it's wet. So it's just pick your poison, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For shoes, for me, like Vans, man, sometimes they just fit my foot funky because like that's the thing with them. Like you can get 2 pairs of size 11 and sometimes they fit different, you know what I mean? And the half cab thing was kind of already over, and I had one of his like new generation cabs that came out, I think in 95. They had the dragon logo on the side. They were not the half cabs, bro. They were
I only wear the old school,
bro. I put them on, they were so like loose on my foot because I kind of got a narrow foot anyways. So I was like, bro, I didn't even want to skate them because like if I tied them they looked like a football because that was the thing, man. Like for me, the laces had to be so far apart. If they were like close in, that was whack, bro. I cannot skate. I can't like tie my shoes like this, you know, and that's why back then I would be like a lot of people would be shoving extra tons into your shoes. That was a huge thing. And the funniest thing about that, bro, is when you would eat it like on a trick, and your shoes would go flying off.
Oh, bro,
your shoes would go flying, and the extra tons would go flying in the air too. It's just like yard sale. It was so funny, bro. You have to go like find your extra ton. And I remember, bro, my boy had a pair of the Muskas.
Yeah.
And like that was like another $120 pair of shoes when those came out on S.
Facts,
this is before like Supra. This is like S Chad Muskas, and they had the little stash pocket, you know, in them and everything.
Yeah.
And so after he skated them, he would get new shoes pretty often. His, you know, I don't know what his deal was, but he'd get shoes more often. But I was like, dude, let me cut the tons off those old shoes. So I cut them off. So I was like, yeah, now I got the stash pocket, and I got the extra ton that's super thick, and it just make your shoe look all like popped out. You know what I mean? So like, I always tried to find shoes that like look good, but I'll skate good. Like I skated Actions when those were coming out for a minute, and I always bought what was on sale.
Dude,
I always bought sale shoes. I don't think I ever paid like the new shoe comes out. Like, dude, I never had a pair of Costins, like the S Costins. You know, the ones I'm talking about?
I'm worse than that.
Was it the first Costins that were really popular? I think it was the first or second ones. I can't remember. But
on ES,
you know, the one that had the little air pocket, like dude, they're like iconic, bro.
Because all his shoes have actually,
Costins,
they've all been pretty dope. I never owned a pair of Costins. Even the Nike Costins are dope, but I'm trying to remember. There's been so many Costins, but
they were like the first S Costins, or maybe this, I can't remember now. I mean, I definitely have a picture of them, but dude, everybody was skating those for a minute. And then the Mark Johnsons, remember those? Was it, I think it was, the E America shoe that he had with the M on it.
Yep.
Those were hella. I wanted a pair of those so bad too, but they were so popular they were never on sale.
Dude, man, and that's the thing. That's the time I just got into skating Vans. I'm like, you know what is another shoe I like too as far as Vans with a chucker boot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just me being a fan of Hensley, I kind of tried them out and I was like, okay, you know, they fit good. Again, I like the way the leather wears. I like the fact that they have a little more ankle support than just like a regular Van would, and it just they just work for me. But yeah, man. I mean, I wasn't gonna pay $100 for a pair of shoes. I was gonna skate, and I never did that. And it's just gotten worse as I've gotten older. It's just like, I mean, like you said, for me, I just think the older I get, the cheaper I become. But at the same time, though, when it comes to skate stuff, you know, because you've been skating so long, you know how to recognize good products. Like, oh, you know, like we were talking about wheels. You know, about 99 durometer, 101s are too hard. You know, I'll usually skate a white 99 durometer wheel, and that's hard enough so that I don't feel like I'm skating around on marshmallows, but soft enough so that when I do a blunt slide, I'm not gonna roll away with flat spots. Yeah, you know,
and you can power slide without getting flat spots. You know, it's like 99s just kind of in the pocket, bro.
And then like for boards, bro, I'm like, yo. I remember for a while I was skating the Copeland Blanks, man. I'm like, yo, you talk about $20, bro. I'm buying like 5
Copeland
or 6
Blanks.
of them.
I skated those Pal Blanks for a minute too. Those 7-ply Pal Blanks.
Whatever's cheap and built good, I'll buy it.
Yeah, you remember Copeland's, bro. You went to Copeland's.
Bro, I had a stash
that
of like
was the spot, bro.
Copeland's
Everything was on
decks,
sale.
Bro. I'm like, no. On the left, I'm like, no, this can't happen. I was like, you guys are just, y'all are messing the game up. I'm like, bro.
They had that bucket of sale boards. Do you remember that? They had that little like metal bucket, I think, like boards that had been scuffed up or just ones that had been sitting around. And that's where I'd get my boards. I just
man. Copeland's. Whatever happened?
I loved a deal, bro. I loved getting deals when I was a kid, bro.
What happened to them, though? Did they go out of business?
Yeah, they went out of business.
Man.
They went out of business. But man, when they started selling skate stuff, I couldn't. I was like, I wanted to go to the skate shop, but it felt a little different. It felt like they got like a skate shop and put it into their shop.
Oh, of course. They weren't a skate shop at first.
It kind of felt more like that, But man, what were some of the other stores around that time? Like we were talking about Grand Groove before we started recording.
Indeed. Yeah.
So if any of you guys are like from Portland old school
Cedar Hills.
Grand Groove, that's going to take you way back.
Yeah, Portland Metro. Here goes another one, bro. Remember Sublimity's still there.
Okay.
Remember the first what do you call it? Cal's?
Oh yeah.
Cal Skate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember several locations.
Yeah,
actually,
and that's kind of like a staple in Portland. But
wait, you're talking Cal Skate or Cal Pharmacy?
I'm talking about Cal Skate.
Cal Skate. Oh yeah. I remember the original one. Like you walk in and it felt like a closet, and they had clothes on top of clothes. Like they had a rack of clothes on top of the other rack.
Yeah.
That was like, I forget that dude. He's like an artist, and he was like a Burnside local. He had kind of like longer hair. Do you remember who I'm talking about? He was like the guy that worked at the shop all the time. Yeah, he always worked in the shop back in the day. But yeah, man, that dude, that was so dope going in there. That was like, besides Grand Groove, that was one of the first skate shops I ever went into.
Well, it's cool when you have those skate shops that are actually, they're skate shops. It's like you're not going there and some person and you're like, can I see that board? You mean this green one? Or you know, someone's like, oh, then well, these boards are good because of the process that they use to press their boards, or you know, they have, you know, let's say 5% more concave on average than other boards. You know, so it's nice when you have a skateboarder selling you a skate product, as opposed to someone that is just like, oh, you mean this one over here with the,
like
the dog
Zoomies,
on it? Yeah,
where they don't skate and they're like, no, don't grip my board. Don't grip my board,
bro. And that is the worst thing, bro. I used to love going
my own board,
bro. But you know what? I do too.
Fun.
But I don't mind some places if it's a skateboarder, someone that skates. I'm like, yeah, I'll let them grip my board because I don't want to get raw thumb anyway. But yeah, there's nothing worse than when someone grips your board, they don't know what they're doing. You're like, bro, just take it all off, man. You're gonna ruin my day. Yeah. Nothing worse than a bad grip job, bro.
That's true. If I go to a skate shop, I kind of play it like if they like, because man, like I've been in there and I could tell like you've been bored, you've been sitting all day, and dude, I love gripping boards. So I can tell, like, if you worked at a skate shop, you'd probably be looking forward to being able to grip a board. I mean, I love gripping a skateboard. So sometimes I'd let people like grip my board. But for the most part, bro, it's like, for me, like sitting down, taking your board apart and doing that, it's all like, it's a mantra,
get it,
bro. It's like a meditation.
It's like, exactly. That's like me when I work on cars. It's the same thing. Yeah. But it's a process. You know what I'm saying? I get it. And then, man, it's just, I think everything with your board is a process, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. I just love it, man. You know, it's one of them things. And I mean, for people who aren't into it, that's cool, man. But I'm just saying, I guess a little bit more insight as to what is really up with skateboarding. I mean, it hasn't always been this cool, popular thing that people look at it as. It hasn't been corporate, and a lot of, and skateboarders didn't get paid what they do now. When we were young, it was like, it was an evolution that got it to this point. It took a long time for that to happen.
Yeah, and while I really miss when it wasn't as cool because it felt special, it felt like it was just yours, like you just had like the secret. But for real, like I like seeing skateboarders get paid.
Me too.
And I like that there's more parks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So even though there's a lot of like, people starting to skate, and like I even feel like there's almost different pockets of skateboarding sometimes now. I feel like in general, like you've got your like core skaters that could go anywhere in the world and you would connect with, other skaters, no problem. You know what I mean? But like, I think that, bro, it's just dope. Like it stands the test of time, and
yeah, it definitely does that.
And I'll take it bigger. I mean, like I guess they're not going to be doing it in the Olympics this year because of all the COVID stuff. But like,
I can't do anything because because of coronavirus. But
bro, yeah, people get paid. They got mansions. Skaters got mansions with
and other businesses,
skate parks, and they're starting other businesses. And bro, I love that because even though I'm not the one getting paid, I'm seeing other skaters get paid, and I'm like, that's dope.
Well, yeah, because you recognize that a lot of people put work in for that to be the case. As I was going to say, is like, I mean, like we said earlier, it's just like there's a lot of lessons that we learned and things that we experience, coming up as skateboarders, but there's some of the things, but in a good way, that a lot of cats these days might not experience as much. I mean, you're still going to experience being an outcast because that's just kind of the skateboarding culture, but at the same time, I mean, it might not be as much situations where cats are getting chased by cops and, even in the fights and stuff, because, man, all that stuff happened, and I'm talking about people who just didn't want you to skateboarding, or people who had an issue with you just because you were skateboarding. I mean, there's a lot of things that you had to deal with, but fortunately, because it's evolved, you're not as looked down upon as you were at one time.
Plus, now you got a lot of security guards or cops that probably skated when they were a kid.
Facts,
and back
man.
in the 80s and 90s, like maybe someone took apart their sister's roller skates and nailed them to a piece of wood, but like that cop or security guard has no idea. But now it's like, bro, you see all these like videos where like cops are showing up at spots, they're like, hey, can I see your board? And he's like tray flipping, you know what I mean? So it's like, so I think that like definitely paved the way to make things a little bit easier, because man, I don't skate too many street spots, but it doesn't feel like as much of a bust as it used to.
Nah, and that's the thing, is just, I mean, people, there's just not as much I don't know, like negativity directed towards you as a skateboarder. Because like we were talking about being skateboarder in high school, you didn't fit in with anybody. I mean, if you're a cool person, you get along with anybody, but you definitely had your group of people, and you just kind of stuck with them because only they could relate to what you were doing.
Yeah.
Nothing
Even
against,
though,
go ahead.
I was just saying, and the cool thing about it too is like you still had a group. So even though you're outcasts, you still had a group of friends.
Indeed.
And even though people would, say some stuff, but all in all, like nobody was really messing with you. Not like you had to say anything, but everybody knew you had to skateboard. You know what I mean? So everybody was going to try to get crazy with you. You know what I mean?
It was,
like,
man, it's just
thankful that never happened, but you know what I mean?
Man, I got into a lot of fights.
Guarantee that
bro.
kept me kind of safe at some point.
I got into a lot of fights, I mean, but it was people messing with us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just trying to skate, bro. You go somewhere where they don't know you, next thing you know, man, catch stepping to you, just like, oh man. Or you go somewhere and you're like, yo, man, you just get that feeling like, yo, something might jump off, and most of the time it did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, still though, I mean, I wouldn't trade that for anything. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trade the lessons I learned from skateboarding, or even being a part of a group that wasn't, widely accepted back in those days, right?
Bro, because those are, like, think of all the good stories now, bro. Indeed. Like it's just
we can
the way it works.
Look at it and laugh, but I mean, there's a lot of times where I wasn't laughing, but
yeah.
I'm still grateful that I went through it though, because it helped, and I think that's the thing. A lot of people nowadays hopefully can glean from this, or even learn in general, just because. Like, stay the course, man. If you're being who you are, stay the course.
No doubt.
Regardless of what the ideology may be, just stay the course. As long as you're not out being intently malicious, then stay the course.
Yeah.
And once you get over that hump, you know what I'm saying, or you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you'll realize, like you said earlier, it pays off because you stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to teach you, a lot of things that you may not have known had you not gone through that. And then it'll cultivate tools for you to use throughout other aspects of your existence. You just got to continue pushing through and recognize other people are going through it too. Mm-hmm. And that's the facts. I love everything skateboarding brought into my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. It's now crazy to see my son actually skateboard, It's just, or even, I mean, it's just.
My daughter, she can push.
Dude,
and she pushes the right way, bro.
Early,
I started out pushing Mongo when I was a kid because nobody was telling me any different. And she pushes right, she can roll,
Bro, hey, you got to start early. But my boy yesterday, one of my boys is like, dude, I'm in the vinyl with. He was chopping it up. He just sent me a text. Hey, man, do you push Mongo? I'm like, bro, why would you even ask me something like that? I'm like, bro, I should come up and just deck you, man. Like, don't ever ask me something. I'm like, bro, I told him, I said, if I'm going to bust out switch, yeah. I'm like, bro. But I'm like, I could tell someone who doesn't skate would ask a question like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, if you skate, you should know. You better not push Mongo, bro. You're like, yo, what? Did I just see you pushing Mongo, bro? Like, nah, man.
Dude, I remember when it was like, I think it was Thrasher, it was Tommy Guerrero, and he was just talking about the pushing styles, and it was because, man, there was like one pro that did push Mongo. I forget his name,
bro.
I forget his name. Like, man, somebody it always knows that dude's name, and I was hoping you knew it. But bro, I definitely got thrown off, man, watching like Costin and all those dudes that skated for Girl back in the day, because they'd be skating so much switch and they'd be pushing Mongo. Yeah. So in my head, like, I wasn't always thinking, oh, they're skating switch. So I think early on, I was just kind of like, I didn't think about it that much. I definitely fixed it. You know what I mean? And I got my push straight now. But the good thing about pushing Mongo for those first few years is now when I push switch, I don't push Mongo.
You were talking about that.
And I can push like comfortably switch.
I can push comfortably switch, but I like to push Mongo switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something I've gotten used to doing. But
plus, it lets people know you're about to do a switch trick.
Yeah, but that was like for my era, man, if you're pushing Mongo, then that automatically denotes that you're about to bust out switch.
Yeah, but what's that dude from Love Park, the old Keenan Love Park? What's his name? He's going to let you know how he feels. But like if people showed up, you weren't allowed to push switch Mongo. What's his name? What's his name, bro?
I could push regular footed. I ain't got a problem with it, but yeah.
Damn, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Who's he skate for?
He was a tall dude. He skated like
Reese Forbes?
No, Reese Forbes. That guy's got pop.
Yeah, he's insane.
Dude, he's like an East Coast legend. It was like the was it the Eastern Exposure videos? Is that what they were called?
Yeah, yep. I'm just trying to think of who it was.
He had his own board company, Five Borough or something for a minute. Was it Five Borough that he owned, or Traffic? Was it called Traffic?
I don't know.
Dude, this is lame. I can't believe I can't remember
it's all
this dude's
good,
name.
Man.
He skated for Castell back in the day for a minute. Castell, bro. That's a name.
Word. Dude,
bro.
So much has come and gone in skateboarding, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, shoes, parks, companies. it's like, remember back in the 90s, bro, it was like a new company every other week, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool to see companies started by skaters, though. That was dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was kind of, again, the kind of we said about seeing skaters getting paid. It's cool to see skaters, you know, kind of determining their own destiny. It's, again, analogous to hip hop, right?
Yeah.
You see artists kind of taking creative control of what they're doing. It was the same in skateboarding. It was like, yo, you're making, you know, buku bucks off of us, you know what I'm saying? And we're only seeing the pittance in a lot of cases, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or we're out on the road making y'all money and y'all just send us a check. Nah, we got this. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we're doing this. We're gonna take the helm.
And that's why, you know, a lot of people talk about World Industries back in the day and Rocco and how he was like, he kind of owned everything. But at the same time, and some people will say some stuff, but dude, he was, I think he kind of paved the way for skaters to be like, man, I can do this myself.
Absolutely.
So like him doing it. So I think like that's a huge part because I mean, you got a girl that got started off of that and then Chocolate, you know what I mean?
They birthed so many, dude. I mean, anyone that can't give Steve Rocco his props, man, I ain't saying he's a good dude, but you have to give props where they're due. As far as, I mean, Blind, you know, Plan B and then eventually Girl, you know what I'm saying? All the companies that kind of birthed off of that. And it even kind of opened the door to so many different things like new street skating. It opened the doors to Mullen, you know, going from freestyle only to street skating too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Danny Way leaves, you know, Powell and you know, and I think World Industries allowed a lot of skateboarders to just be who they were, as opposed to, it was like, okay, I think they were like Powell in a lot of ways, but it was the only difference is it gave skaters pretty much a high degree from what you could see as the person who was appreciating the company, a high degree of creative control. Powell was like, you know, they had a mantra. It was like the corporate. The McDonald's version of skateboarding. Paul Peralta was back in the days.
Well, yeah, but like in the 80s, it was dope. But then it got to a point where it was like they just, I think, tried to keep that formula, and now it's like, it just, you know what I mean?
Dude, I don't want to say they're lame, but they're pretty daggone close.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, I mean, it's still skateboarding, but it's kind of like, it feels like the goody team, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not
they
going to
just change their name, man.
It just feels like you got to be like, no trouble. You can't get in any trouble.
Yeah.
We'd like you to wear a helmet. If you're cool with the wrist guards, you know, put those on. But at the same time, like there's some dope skating that comes off of PAL. And they're ahead of the technology, right? They got those boards that like will never break supposedly. Like they look dope, and then they gave Salman Agha like a pro board like there for a minute like a few years ago.
Is he pro for them now?
I don't think he's pro for them. They might have just gave him a guest board or what. Like I don't think he's like, I don't know.
But dude, remember Salman Agha skated for them before he skated for real.
Yeah, but then see, for me, Salman years were the Firm, just because the Firm was so big here in Portland because of Matt Beach.
Indeed.
And Lance Mountain was here all the time.
Indeed.
Dude, what was it? I mean, at Skate Church one time, it was Ray Barbie, Salman Agha, Matt Beach, Lance Mountain were all there.
Wow.
Bro.
You were there when that happened? Yeah. Wow.
And this is before, I wish it would have been when Frank Gerwer was on the team, because this is before Gerwer was like super well known, because, you know, when he got on like Anti-Hero, I feel like but he was on the Firm for a minute there too. You know what I mean? What a dope team, bro. I was into the Firm, but mainly because Matt Beach was from here, and I would see Matt Beach at
he was mad cool, man.
Spots. He was mad cool.
He was all, and I'm like, man, he was just you wouldn't know that he was a pro skateboarder if you didn't know.
He was so good. He was consistent, bro. Like, it was funny, man, because I saw him and Jamie Fortune a lot skating growing up. And dude, they were consistent, bro. They were like good, and I kind of just like, wow, damn, you got to be that consistent to be a pro. And then I remember seeing some other pros that were dope too. But dude, I was like, no, Matt Beach and Jamie Fortune, like they're pretty consistent, bro.
Jamie Fortune, I skate with him a lot, man. Just beast, just killed it every time. Like, bro, I'm like, this dude is insanely good.
Yeah, bro. I always thought, dude, I remember then at one point when they were both doing pretty well, and they'd show up to Tron. I think we just called it the Rec Center back then.
Yep.
But they would pull up, and they both bought Audis.
Yep, that was the thing for a while.
Yeah, they both had new Audis, and I was like, dude, these guys are Oh, dude, it's so dope, bro. They just both pull up at the same time with their Audis, and they just come and kill the park.
Bro, basically.
Like, it's so cool.
That is so definitely dope. What happened whenever either of them would be there, dude.
Yeah.
I used to skate with Jamie Fortune all over Portland, man, because it was like a little crew that he used to kind of hang out with, and I was cool with a lot of them. The Grand Groove dudes.
Okay,
you know
yeah.
Jeep and all these cats.
Oh, Jeep.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Oh, my gosh. Only a few people are going to know that probably. Yeah, yeah, Jeep used to work there. He was buddies with one of my friends that I made out in Banks when I had to live out there for a minute. But yeah, Jeep was he was one of the main dudes that worked that store.
Yeah.
Jeez,
he
bro,
was.
This is going back to
Portland all my
history,
boys,
bro.
Man. All my cats I met back in like 95, man. Adam Cox, you know what I'm saying? All them dudes, man.
Dang.
Rest his soul, man, because he's deceased. Greg, all them dudes, man. It's just, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like Portland's like my second home, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, I mean, the East Coast is my home, and like so many things have happened there, but I kind of grew up here. I'm saying it's like from 19 on I was here. So I have like, I mean, I can look back 20 plus years to, you know, to times with dudes that I knew when they were like in middle school and high school. Now they're grown with kids, you know what I'm saying? Just wow, man. But I mean, again, that's what skateboarding does. I mean, it's just like, I've got super, super strong ties, you know what I'm saying, to dudes 20 plus years, again, here and on the East Coast, even longer there. But, you know, I mean, that's what skateboarding does. I mean, you know, you have, again, all of us are different in so many different ways, but we you know, come together under that umbrella, you know what I'm saying, happily, and with a strong bond, man, with the bond that most people can't even understand or relate to, like any other thing. But as skaters, this is our thing.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how it is, man.
Doubt.
Wonderful friendships, man. I mean, my and yours, for example. I mean, just some of the most solid people I've ever met in my life, man. You know what I'm saying?
Bro. That's the thing, man. Skateboarding is such a dope icebreaker because you're like,
Facts.
oh, you're into this, because if you're into it, you know that you're really into it.
Facts.
You know, so it's like you already have this like connection, because you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, man. That's kind of like built the status for friendships for me moving
Most
forward.
definitely.
It's like I pretty much only kick it with people that I do stuff with. Like
Facts.
we either start. I mean, it evolves from there, but like we either skate together, we do music together. And then there's friendship beyond that inside there. But
Bro.
I mean, it's like, that's the thing that like really brings it together at first.
Indeed,
you know?
indeed.
Yo, I was thinking this is getting kind of long.
Yeah, man, we can go and chill, man.